Have you ever found yourself saying things in the heat of anger, only to regret them moments later? Imagine if the true power to master your emotions lay not in words spoken, but in the silent pause you choose before reacting. In the fast-paced whirl of life, anger often erupts suddenly, like a fierce storm disturbing the calm seas of our mind. Buddhism offers us a profound teaching. Silence in moments of anger is not avoidance or suppression, but a sacred act of wisdom, restraint, and compassion. There is a timeless story from the Buddha's teachings about two arrows. The first arrow represents the initial pain or insult we inevitably face in life. The second arrow, however, is the suffering we add by reacting with anger, frustration, or harsh words. When we speak or act in fury, we are essentially shooting that second arrow at ourselves, deepening our own suffering. A disciple once asked the Buddha, "Master, when someone insults me, am I harmed by their words or by my own response?" The Buddha replied gently, "It is not the insult, but your reaction that causes true harm." This story beautifully illustrates that while pain is inevitable, much of our suffering is self-inflicted through uncontrolled anger. From the Buddhist perspective, anger arises from three poisons: craving, aversion, and ignorance. When our desires go unmet, when we resist reality, or fail to understand the impermanence of all things, anger ignites. Modern neuroscience echoes this ancient insight. When anger surges, the amygdala, the brain's emotional alarm system, triggers a fight-or-flight response, flooding the body with adrenaline and narrowing our thinking. This emotional hijack impairs judgment and often leads to regretful actions. Yet, when we choose silence, a deliberate pause, we engage the prefrontal cortex, the part of our brain responsible for reasoning and self-control. This quiet moment creates space for awareness, allowing us to observe anger without immediately acting on it. The pause is the bridge between raw emotion and mindful response. It's where true mastery begins. So how can we cultivate this wisdom in daily life? The next time anger rises, try this practice. First, take a slow, deep breath to interrupt the emotional rush. Then, observe the anger as a temporary mental state, not a command to act. Picture anger as a wildfire. Your silence is the rain that cools it down, preventing it from spreading further. Reflect gently. What craving, fear, or misconception is feeding this flame? Finally, when calm returns, choose to respond with kindness, aiming to heal rather than harm. Through this sacred silence, we transform anger from a destructive force into an opportunity for growth. We nurture emotional intelligence, deepen compassion for ourselves and others, and break the cycle of reactive pain. Silence is not weakness. It is the strength to step back, to listen deeply, and to choose peace over chaos. Conflict is an unavoidable part of human relationships. From small disagreements with friends to deep clashes at work or home, tension arises naturally when differing opinions, desires, or values collide. Yet, how we navigate these moments shapes not only the outcome, but also the quality of our relationships and inner peace. Buddhism teaches us that silence, when practiced tactically during conflict, is not about withdrawal or avoidance. Instead, it is a powerful tool for creating space to breathe, to listen, and to reflect. Imagine conflict as a heated storm. Speaking impulsively is like throwing more fuel onto the fire, while silence can be the calm eye at the center, where clarity and composure reside. Scientific studies support this ancient wisdom. When emotions run high, the brain's limbic system dominates, clouding judgment and triggering defensive or aggressive reactions. But intentional silence activates our executive functions, those parts of the brain responsible for empathy, perspective-taking, and self-regulation. By choosing silence, we step out of reactive chaos and into mindful presence. Practically, this means that in moments of disagreement, Rather than rushing to respond or defend, we pause. We allow others to express themselves fully without interruption, signaling respect and openness. This active listening fosters empathy and often de-escalates tension before it escalates into full-blown conflict. Moreover, silence gives us time to examine our own feelings and biases. Are we clinging to the need to be right? Is our ego driving the argument? Buddhism's principle of non-attachment invites us to let go of rigid positions and prioritize harmony and understanding over winning. One practical technique is to consciously breathe and count silently before responding. This simple pause shifts the balance from reaction to response. It empowers us to choose words with care, speak calmly, and seek common ground rather than victory. Over time, embracing silence during conflict nurtures healthier communication, stronger relationships, and emotional resilience. It helps us break free from patterns of escalation and fosters a culture of compassion and mutual respect. In essence, tactical silence is an active practice, a courageous choice to meet conflict with wisdom, not fire, with openness, not resistance. It aligns beautifully with the Buddhist path of mindfulness and compassion, guiding us toward peaceful resolutions that honor both ourselves and others. In the bustling rhythm of daily life, gossip often sneaks into conversations like a quiet shadow, shaping perceptions, stirring emotions, and sometimes causing unseen harm. The urge to respond, to defend, clarify, or even join in can feel strong. Yet, Buddhism invites us to consider a different path, the power of silence in the face of gossip. Choosing silence here is not passivity or weakness. Rather, it is an act of profound integrity and compassion. Words hold tremendous power. They can build bridges or burn them down. The Buddhist teaching of right speech reminds us to speak truthfully, kindly, and purposefully. Gossip and slander run counter to this wisdom. They arise from jealousy, insecurity, or misunderstanding and create ripples of suffering far beyond the moment. When we stay silent instead of engaging in harmful talk, we set a boundary, not just protecting others, but also safeguarding our own minds from the toxicity of negativity. Neuroscience shows that engaging in negative conversations activates stress responses in our brain, increasing anxiety and reducing emotional well-being. Silence, by contrast, helps us maintain calm and clarity. Silence also opens space for reflection. Why are these stories circulating? What emotions drive them? What part of ourselves might be tempted to join? This mindful pause allows us to cultivate self-awareness and choose a more compassionate response. Our quiet refusal to participate can serve as a mirror to others, gently inviting them to reconsider their words and actions. Moreover, by refusing to amplify gossip, we help break cycles of judgment and blame. This act contributes to a culture of kindness and trust, fostering healthier relationships and communities. Practically, when you hear gossip, try this. Pause, breathe, and remind yourself of the intention behind right speech. Ask yourself if joining will heal or harm. When tempted to respond, choose silence or redirect the conversation toward positivity or understanding. This is not denial of reality, but a conscious commitment to reduce suffering. Over time, this practice strengthens your inner peace and aligns your actions with the highest values of compassion and wisdom. In moments of gossip, silence becomes a powerful spiritual shield and an ethical stand. It nurtures your mental clarity, protects your relationships, and cultivates a more peaceful world, one quiet moment at a time. In the delicate dance of human existence, pain and suffering are inevitable companions. Whether it's the ache of loss, the turmoil of emotional wounds, or the quiet struggles hidden beneath the surface, suffering touches us all. In these vulnerable moments, Buddhism teaches us the profound value of silence, not as emptiness, but as a sacred space for compassion and healing. When we encounter someone suffering, Our instinct is often to fill the silence with words, comfort, advice, or reassurance. While these can be helpful, there is a deeper power in simply being present, in offering silence as a compassionate witness. This silence communicates empathy, respect, and a readiness to listen without judgment or haste. Modern psychology confirms what Buddhist wisdom has long understood. Active, empathetic listening without interruption fosters emotional healing and strengthens human connection. Silence creates a safe container where the person suffering can express their pain authentically and at their own pace, without pressure to perform or explain. Moreover, silence honors the autonomy of the sufferer, acknowledging that healing is a personal journey that cannot always be rushed or fixed by words. It recognizes that some wounds are not meant to be immediately healed, but need to be held with gentle awareness and patience. In your own moments of pain, silence becomes an act of self-compassion. It invites you to turn inward, to feel without resistance, and to witness your own suffering with kindness. Neuroscience shows that mindful acceptance of difficult emotions activates brain regions associated with emotional regulation and resilience, helping reduce the intensity of pain over time. To cultivate this practice, try sitting quietly with your feelings during challenging times. Rather than pushing away discomfort or distracting yourself, gently allow the sensations and thoughts to arise and pass, like waves on the shore. Use your breath as an anchor, returning to it whenever your mind wanders. Remember, silence is not about suppressing emotions or isolation. It is a space of connection, first with yourself and then, through that grounded presence, with others. This quiet strength nurtures healing, fosters clarity, and helps you cultivate a deeper compassion that extends beyond yourself. By embracing silence in the face of suffering, you align with one of Buddhism's core teachings, that awareness, presence, and compassion are the paths to true liberation from pain. In this sacred quietude, transformation begins, not by escaping suffering, but by meeting it with open-hearted courage. Just as silence holds profound power when we witness the suffering of others, it becomes equally essential when we face our own pain. Life's hardships, loss, heartbreak, failure, illness, inevitably test our resilience. In these moments, Buddhist philosophy encourages us to embrace silence not as avoidance, but as a compassionate refuge for self-healing. When suffering overwhelms us, the natural urge may be to seek distraction, explanation, or quick relief. Yet, rushing to fill the void with noise, whether through talking, scrolling, or busyness, can sometimes deepen our distress. Silence offers an alternative, a sacred pause where we can gently hold our pain with kindness and without judgment. Scientific studies affirm that mindfulness-based practices, which often include silent reflection, reduce symptoms of anxiety and depression by enhancing emotional regulation and decreasing rumination. In stillness, we find the space to observe our pain objectively rather than being engulfed by it. In your darkest hours, allow silence to become a supportive companion. Sit with your feelings, breathe into the discomfort, and observe without trying to fix or escape. This mindful presence can unlock profound insights into the nature of your suffering and reveal pathways toward acceptance and growth. Buddhism teaches that suffering is not an enemy to conquer, but a natural part of existence that, when embraced with awareness, can lead to awakening. The silence that envelopes you in these moments is a gateway, a space where transformation unfolds quietly, beyond words and distractions. Practical steps to cultivate this practice include setting aside moments each day for silent meditation or contemplative stillness, especially when emotions feel intense. Find a comfortable posture, close your eyes, and gently bring attention to your breath and bodily sensations. Notice thoughts and feelings as they arise and dissolve, remaining a calm observer. Remember, silence during personal suffering nurtures self-compassion. It's an act of honoring your pain rather than denying it. Through this acceptance, you build inner strength and resilience, learning that you can sit with discomfort without being defined or overwhelmed by it. Ultimately, embracing silence in our own suffering aligns us with the profound Buddhist insight that peace arises not from escaping pain, but from transforming our relationship to it. It invites us to awaken to the impermanent, interconnected nature of life, and to discover within ourselves a wellspring of compassion, healing, and freedom. Incorporating the practice of mindful silence into daily life transforms not only how we face pain, but also how we relate to the world around us. This is not about withdrawing or escaping reality, but about creating intentional moments of stillness that anchor us amidst life's turbulence. Begin by carving out brief pauses in your daily routine, whether a few deep breaths before responding in conversation, a moment of quiet reflection after waking, or simply sitting in stillness during a break. These pockets of silence serve as reset points for the mind and heart, allowing clarity to arise and reactive impulses to soften. When faced with emotional intensity, practice pausing before speaking or acting. This simple delay, even if only a few seconds, opens a window for awareness to take hold. Instead of reacting out of habit or fear, you create space to respond with intention and kindness. Journaling can also be a powerful companion to silence. Writing down your thoughts and feelings after a moment of quiet reflection can bring subconscious emotions into conscious view, helping you understand patterns and triggers without judgment. Engage in regular meditation or contemplative practices that cultivate silent observation. These can range from seated meditation focusing on breath or sensations, walking meditation that attunes you to each step, or mindful listening where you fully absorb sounds without labeling or reacting. Modern neuroscience supports these practices. Engaging in silent mindfulness activities strengthens areas of the brain responsible for emotional regulation, attention, and empathy. Over time, consistent practice rewires neural pathways, enhancing resilience against stress and fear. Moreover, embrace silence as a tool in interpersonal relationships. Listening in silence, truly holding space for another without interruption or judgment, fosters deeper connection and understanding. This mindful presence becomes a gift that soothes and heals, reducing conflicts and building empathy. In moments of conflict or tension, choosing silence is not passive resignation, but a courageous act of self-control and compassion. It prevents the escalation of harm and opens the door to thoughtful communication when the time is right. Remember, the power of silence is amplified by intention. Approach each silent moment not as emptiness, but as fullness, a sacred container where awareness, compassion, and wisdom can flourish. As you weave mindful silence into your life, you'll discover an inner sanctuary that remains steady regardless of external chaos. This sanctuary nurtures calm, insight, and a profound connection to the present moment, the essence of Buddhist wisdom and a foundation for lasting peace. Silence, in the Buddhist tradition, is more than the absence of sound. It is the gateway to emptiness, sunyata, a core concept that reveals the nature of reality beyond our ordinary perceptions. Emptiness teaches us that all phenomena, including our thoughts and emotions, lack inherent, fixed existence. They arise dependent on conditions, and therefore are transient and interconnected. When we embrace silence, we create the conditions to perceive this truth more clearly. The chatter of the mind quiets, revealing the fluid, interdependent nature of experience. This insight loosens our grip on rigid identities and fixed narratives that often fuel suffering and fear. Modern science, particularly neuroscience and psychology, offers compelling parallels. Studies on brain activity during meditation show reduced activation in the default mode network, DMN, the brain region associated with self-referential thinking and rumination. This reduction correlates with increased present-moment awareness and decreased anxiety. By cultivating silence, we dampen the endless internal dialogue that can trap us in cycles of fear, judgment, and attachment. The space created by silence allows us to witness thoughts and feelings as passing events, not as absolute truths or permanent states. This aligns perfectly with Buddhist mindfulness, which teaches us to observe experiences with equanimity and non-reactivity. In this state, silence is not an absence but a fertile ground where wisdom grows. Philosophically, silence also connects us to the profound notion of interbeing, coined by Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh. It reminds us that we do not exist in isolation. Our existence is woven together with all life. In silence, the illusion of separateness fades, and we touch the oneness that underlies diversity. Practically, embracing silence can transform relationships and social dynamics. In moments of tension or misunderstanding, silence breaks patterns of reactive speech that often escalate conflicts. It cultivates a space where empathy and deeper listening become possible. Yet, silence is also a powerful form of communication. It speaks volumes through presence, attentiveness, and restraint. Choosing silence can convey respect, dignity, and profound understanding without uttering a single word. Incorporating this philosophical depth into our daily practice empowers us to navigate life's challenges with grace. Silence becomes a refuge and a source of strength, enabling us to respond rather than react, to connect rather than divide. As we journey through these 5 sacred moments to embrace silence, we begin to understand that silence is not mere absence. It is a powerful presence. It is in these quiet pauses that we find clarity amidst chaos, compassion amidst conflict, and healing amidst pain. By choosing silence when anger arises, during conflicts, in the face of gossip, amidst others' suffering, and within our own pain, we cultivate a deep well of inner peace and wisdom. This practice invites us to move beyond reactive patterns, to listen deeply to ourselves and to others, and to create space for empathy, understanding, and transformation. Silence becomes a tool for liberation, helping us release attachment to ego, dissolve suffering, and awaken to the interconnectedness of all beings. The value of this journey lies not only in tranquility, but in the courage to hold space for what is real, our emotions, our vulnerabilities, and the truths that often remain unspoken. Through mindful silence, we nurture emotional intelligence, strengthen relationships, and step closer to the heart of Buddhist teachings, freedom from suffering and the cultivation of compassion. If this message resonated with your heart and mind, I invite you to take a moment to pause and reflect on where silence might serve you in your own life. Share your thoughts or experiences in the comments below. I'd love to hear how you practice or plan to embrace these moments of quiet. Please like this video if you found value in it, and consider sharing it with friends or loved ones who might benefit from the power of mindful silence. Don't forget to subscribe for more content that nourishes the mind and spirit. Thank you for walking this path of awareness with me. May your journey be filled with peace, compassion, and profound stillness. Until next time, stay present, stay kind, and keep embracing the sacred power of silence.